The night was quiet, the kind of quiet that makes every sound feel louder. Ethan walked down the long hallway of the research facility, his old mop dragging behind him. The floor shone under the flickering white lights. He sighed, checking the clock, 11:47 p.m. Almost done. Ethan was a simple man. A janitor. A single dad trying to raise his little girl Lily after his wife passed away. Every night he cleaned these empty halls, dreaming of a better life. But dreams didn't pay bills. He hummed softly, pushing his cleaning cart when suddenly, boom! The ground shook under his feet. The lights blinked. Somewhere outside, glass shattered. Ethan froze. "What the hell was that?" he whispered. He ran to the window. Far beyond the facility fence, the dark sky was glowing. A bright, burning light tearing through the clouds, falling fast. For a moment he thought it was a plane, but then it changed direction, like it was alive. A fireball crashed into the forest near the hill. A deep echo rolled through the air. Ethan's heart raced. The security alarms didn't go off. No one else was around, just him. He grabbed his jacket, opened the side door, and stepped out into the cold night. The forest was only a few minutes away. His shoes sank into the wet mud as he walked. Smoke rose in the distance. The smell of burned metal and something else, and something strange, filled the air. He pushed through the trees until he saw it. A shattered ship, half buried in the dirt, glowing faint blue. It was small like a car, but smooth and curved, unlike anything human-made. Ethan stared, amazed and afraid. Sparks danced around it. He could hear a faint sound or a weak voice. Someone was inside. He stepped closer. The metal was hot but not burning. "Hello?" he called out, no answer. Then through a broken hatch he saw movement, a figure. Inside lay a girl. She looked young, maybe 20. Her skin was pale like moonlight, her hair silver, and her eyes. Her eyes glowed faint purple even in the dark. Ethan's breath caught. You're not from here," he whispered. The girl tried to move but cried out in pain. Her legs didn't respond. She looked at him with fear like a wild animal trapped. "Don't move," Ethan said softly. "I'm here to help." She didn't understand his words at first. Her lips moved, speaking a language he didn't know, but soft musical sounds. But her voice trembled. Ethan looked around. No one else was coming. The ship made a strange beeping sound, and he noticed blinking red lights like a signal. Maybe a tracker. He couldn't leave her there. "I'll get you out," he said, more to himself than her. He pulled open the hatch with all his strength. Sparks flew. The girl winced but didn't resist. He gently lifted her out. She was light, too light, and cold as ice. Her skin shimmered faintly under the moonlight. He carried her back toward the road. "Hang on," he muttered. "Just hang on." As he neared his cleaning van, he saw lights in the distance, headlights. But not normal cars. Military trucks, black, unmarked, silent. They were coming fast. Ethan ducked behind his van, heart pounding. Voices echoed through loudspeakers. "Search the area. The crash site is 200 meters north." Soldiers with flashlights and rifles spread out across the trees. One of them held a scanner that beeped louder as it pointed toward the wreck. Ethan looked at the alien girl in his arms. Her eyes fluttered open weakly. She whispered something in a single word he didn't understand, then fainted. He looked at his van, then at the soldiers. If they found her, they'd take her away, experiment on her. Maybe worse. Without thinking, Ethan opened the back of his cleaning van, pushed aside buckets and tools, and carefully laid her down. He covered her with a dirty blanket and shut the door quietly. As the soldiers approached, Ethan walked out, pretending to be calm. "Hey, you there!" a soldier shouted. "What are you doing out here?" Ethan pointed at the facility. "I work there. I heard the explosion, thought it was a gas line." The soldier stared at him for a moment, scanning his ID badge. Then he nodded. "Get back inside. It's not safe." Ethan nodded and slowly walked away, his hands shaking. When the soldiers were gone, he rushed to his van, jumped in, and started the engine. He drove through the empty streets, heart pounding, breathing fast. The girl lay still in the back, faintly glowing. He looked at her through the rear mirror. "I don't know who you are," he whispered, "but you're safe now." The van disappeared into the darkness of the sleeping town. Behind them in the forest, the soldiers found the broken ship, and the blinking tracker still sending its signal into the stars. Somewhere far away. Someone received it. The sound of rain hit the window softly when Ethan parked his old van in front of his small apartment. The clock on the dashboard blinked 2:13 a.m. He sat there for a moment, staring at the faint glow coming from the back of the van. Inside, the strange girl, the alien, was still unconscious. Her breathing was slow but steady. Ethan didn't know what to do. He looked up at his apartment window. The light was still on. His little daughter, Lily, had stayed awake waiting for him again. He sighed. "This is crazy," he muttered. "What am I even doing?" He opened the back door and carefully lifted the girl out. Her skin felt cold and smooth like marble. She was light and almost weightless. Ethan carried her upstairs, praying no one saw him. Inside, Lily's small voice came from the hallway. "Daddy?" Ethan froze. "Go back to bed, sweetheart." But she peeked out anyway, rubbing her eyes. "Who's that?" Ethan hesitated. "She's hurt." Daddy found her in the woods. "We need to help her." Lily's eyes widened. "She's pretty." "Like a fairy," Ethan managed a weak smile. "Yeah, something like that." He laid the girl on the couch. The faint blue veins under her skin pulsed softly. Her silver hair spread across the pillow like a river of light. Then slowly she opened her eyes. They glowed faint violet, bright and clear. She blinked at the ceiling, then at Ethan, then at Lily. She tried to move and gasped in pain. Her legs didn't respond. She spoke something, her voice soft but sharp, a language Ethan couldn't understand. "It's okay," Ethan said gently, raising his hands. "You're safe. You crashed, but you're safe now." The girl looked around, confused, scared. She tried again to move, but her body didn't obey. When she saw her useless legs, her face twisted in panic. She spoke again, louder, angry. Her voice echoed strangely like it carried an electric hum. Ethan took a step closer. "Hey, calm down. You're hurt. Please don't." Suddenly a blue spark jumped from her hand. A flash of light that hit the wall, leaving a small burn mark. Lily screamed and hid behind Ethan. The girl looked at her own hand in shock, like she didn't mean to do that. Then she looked at Lily when something in her eyes changed. Fear turned to sadness. She whispered something again, softer this time. Ethan could feel she was saying sorry, even if he didn't know the words. He nodded slowly. "It's all right. No one's going to hurt you here." He pointed to himself. "Ethan," then to his daughter. "Lily." The girl hesitated, then pointed weakly to herself. "Illyra." Lily smiled shyly. "Hi, Illyra." For the first time, the alien girl didn't look afraid. Ethan made her some warm tea, though he wasn't sure if she even drank tea. He wrapped her legs in a blanket. They were thin, with strange silver lines running along her skin like veins made of light. When he touched them, she flinched but didn't pull away. He noticed she couldn't feel his touch below her knees. "You can't walk, can you?" he said softly. Illyra didn't answer, but her eyes told the truth. She turned away, ashamed. Ethan sat back. "We'll figure this out," he said. "I'll help you." Illyra looked at him, her face cold, almost mocking. "Help?" she repeated, the first English word she managed to say. Her voice was broken, but her meaning was clear. She didn't believe him. That night, Ethan didn't sleep. He watched from the chair as Illyra drifted in and out of dreams, her body glowing faintly with every breath. Sometimes she whispered in her alien tongue, tears slipping down her cheek. At dawn, Lily came to sit beside her. "Don't be sad," she said softly. "Daddy fixes everything. He fixed my teddy when it broke." Illyra looked at the little girl, confused, then gave the smallest smile, but the peace didn't last long. When Ethan went to throw out the trash later that morning, he noticed something strange. A black van parked across the street. 2 men inside, not moving, not talking, just watching. His heart started to pound. He walked back inside quickly and closed the blinds. Illyra sat up slightly, breathing hard. Her eyes flickered like a warning light. She grabbed his wrist, her voice urgent. "They found me." Ethan froze. "Who?" She pointed toward the window. "Hunters." Ethan looked outside again, but the van was gone. Only the empty street remained. He turned back to her. "You're safe here. I won't let anyone take you." Illyra stared at him, her eyes shimmering. She didn't understand why this human, this janitor, would risk everything for her. She whispered, "Why help me?" Ethan looked at her weak legs, then at his daughter playing beside her. "Because everyone deserves a second chance," he said. Illyra didn't answer. But for the first time, she didn't look away. As the day turned to night outside the window, a faint red light blinked in the clouds, a signal only Elira could see. Far above the earth, something vast moved in the dark, and it was coming for her. 3 nights had passed since the crash. The world outside looked normal. People going to work, cars rushing by, kids laughing in the park. But inside Ethan's small apartment, nothing was normal anymore. Elira, the alien girl, stayed hidden in the small guest room. The curtains were always closed. She spoke more English now, though her voice was still quiet and unsure. Her legs hadn't moved since the crash. Ethan had built a small workshop in his basement, an old storage space below the building. That's where he spent most of his time now, surrounded by wires, tools, and strange glowing pieces from the wrecked ship. He had gone back to the forest secretly 2 nights ago and taken what was left of the ship's metal panel and a strange silver cube that pulsed with light. It was small, warm to the touch, and seemed almost alive. Lily wasn't allowed to go down there, but she still brought Ethan food and whispered, "Daddy's fixing magic again." Ethan smiled when she said that, but his eyes were tired. He hadn't told anyone, not even Lily, how dangerous all this was. Down in the basement, Ethan connected the cube to a small generator. It began to glow brighter. Symbols floated above it, alien letters he didn't understand. Elira sat on a chair nearby, watching him work. "You should rest," Ethan said. "You're still weak." Elira shook her head. "You help me." "I help you," Ethan smiled. "You don't have to." Her eyes met his. "You saved me. I must." For a moment, neither spoke. The quiet hum of machines filled the air. Then suddenly, the cube flickered and projected a hologram, a 3D image of a symbol in golden light. It looked like a crown surrounded by stars. Ethan stepped closer. "What's that?" Elira's eyes widened. Her breath caught. She whispered something in her language, then said in English, "My house. My family mark." Ethan frowned. "You mean your people?" She nodded slowly. "I am daughter of the high seat. You say princess." Ethan froze. "You're a princess?" She looked down, silent. "Not anymore. My people think I die. Maybe. Better that way." Ethan stared at the hologram. The symbol pulsed like a heartbeat, then vanished. "If they're looking for you, we're in danger." Elira's voice was quiet. "They not looking to save. They looking to destroy. Secret." Ethan's chest tightened. "What secret?" Elira's eyes turned cold. "I bring something from home. A weapon, but not for war. For peace. They fear it." The words made no sense to Ethan, but the fear in her eyes was real. Later that night, Elira tried to move her legs again. Ethan had wrapped them with soft cloth and attached some makeshift devices. Wires connected to the alien cube's power. She winced, but didn't cry out. "Why you do this?" she asked. Ethan tightened a bolt. "Because you deserve to walk again. Because no one helped me when I fell apart. I won't let that happen to you." Elira looked at him, puzzled. "You lost someone," Ethan nodded. "My wife, car accident. I couldn't save her." There was silence between them. A quiet understanding. 2 broken souls trying to fix what life had taken. The machine hummed louder. Sparks flashed. The cube's glow spread into the wires and down Elira's legs. She gasped as the light traced her veins like living silver. Ethan panicked. "Is it hurting you?" She shook her head, breathing fast. "No, I can feel something." Her fingers gripped the chair tightly. The faintest twitch moved in her right foot. Just for a second, but it moved. Ethan froze. You moved your leg." Elira looked down, eyes wide with disbelief. "I feel warm. I feel..." Then the light suddenly went out. The cube went dark. Smoke filled the air. Ethan coughed. No. Elira slumped in the chair, exhausted. The glow on her skin faded. "Too much," she whispered. "The heart is sleeping." "The heart?" Ethan asked. She pointed weakly at the cube. "It is called Heart Core. My ship lived because of it. It also keeps me alive." Ethan stared at the small, dim cube. "Then we need to fix it." Elira smiled weakly. "You fix machines. But can you fix stars?" Ethan smiled back. "I'll try." Upstairs, Lily slept peacefully, hugging her teddy bear. But outside the window, the streetlights flickered. Across the street, a black drone hovered in the shadows, its red camera lens glowing. Down in the basement, the cube pulsed once. Faint but real. Elira's eyes opened, sensing something far away. They found the heart, she whispered. Ethan frowned. Who? She looked up, fear in her glowing eyes. The hunters. They come for me. And for you. The faint sound of engines echoed in the distance, and somewhere beyond the clouds, a ship changed its course, heading straight for Earth. Morning light spilled through the half-closed blinds. The world outside looked peaceful, but peace was a lie. Ethan hadn't slept. He sat near the basement stairs, listening to the faint hum of the alien cube, the heart core. Downstairs, Lyra rested, weak but alive. The light in her veins flickered like fading stars. Every few minutes she whispered something in her language, short words that sounded like prayers. Ethan rubbed his tired eyes. Lily was still asleep upstairs, hugging her teddy bear. For a few hours at least she was safe. But Ethan knew something was coming. He could feel it. He turned on the small TV to drown his thoughts. The morning news showed static, then cut to a report. Authorities are investigating an unidentified object that fell outside the city last week. Residents are advised to report any unusual activity. Ethan muted the TV, heart racing. They're getting closer. He went down to the basement. Lyra looked at him with tired eyes. You worried, she said softly. Her English had improved. She learned fast. Yeah, Ethan said. They're looking for you. Lyra lowered her gaze. I bring danger. You should leave. Ethan shook his head. Not happening. She looked at him confused. Why, you are. Human janitor. I am alien trouble. You risk all. Ethan smiled faintly. Because that's what people do when they care. For a moment her face softened. Then she looked away. You are. Strange human. Yeah, he said. I get that a lot. Around noon, Ethan decided to go out for supplies, food, medicine, and more wire for the repairs. He told Lily to stay close to Lyra. Don't open the door for anyone, he warned. The small store was only 3 blocks away, but something felt off. As he walked, he noticed 2 men standing near a parked black SUV. They weren't talking, just scanning the street with small silver devices. Ethan's pulse quickened. Their jackets had no logos, but their movements were too clean, too military. He turned away quickly and entered the store. He grabbed what he needed and paid fast. When he came out, the SUV was gone. But now, a drone floated above the streetlight, almost invisible against the sky. Its lens turned toward him and clicked. Ethan's stomach turned to ice. He dropped the bag and ran. By the time he reached home, his lungs burned. He slammed the door shut and locked it. They're here, he gasped. Lyra's glow brightened faintly. Hunters, she said, voice trembling. They follow the heart signal. She reached for the glowing cube on the table. If they find this, they destroy all. Ethan's voice was firm. Then we hide it. But before he could move, a low humming filled the air, like a storm building underground. The light bulbs flickered. Outside, the sound of heavy boots echoed on the pavement. Lily ran out of her room, frightened. Daddy, what's happening? Ethan grabbed her and pulled her behind the couch. Stay down. A shadow passed the window. A soldier in black armor carrying a strange rifle with a red scope. Lyra's breath quickened. They not human, she whispered. Half metal, half machine. Ethan peered out the window and saw it too. Their movements were too stiff, too perfect. Their helmets glowed faint blue. Cyborgs? He whispered. Lyra nodded. Created to hunt my kind. The front door handle rattled. Then bang! The door exploded inward. Ethan covered Lily with his body. The room filled with smoke and shouts. Target inside, a voice barked. Lyra's eyes flared bright violet. Energy crackled in the air. Her body lifted slightly off the floor. She raised her hand, and a wave of blue light exploded outward. The soldiers were thrown back like leaves in the wind. Their armor sparked and smoked. Ethan stared in shock. Lyra, she screamed, pain flashing across her face. The light faded, and she collapsed. Ethan grabbed her before she hit the ground. Hey, stay with me. I can't. Hold power, she whispered weakly. Too weak. Ethan gritted his teeth. Then I'll hold you. He scooped her up and ran to the basement with Lily following close. The walls shook as another explosion rocked the building. He reached the secret door behind the old shelves, a narrow tunnel he had built months ago for emergency repairs. Now it was their only escape. They crawled through the dark tunnel as smoke filled the basement. Behind them, the sound of metal footsteps echoed closer and closer. Lily clutched his hand. "Daddy, I'm scared." "I know, baby. Keep moving." At the end of the tunnel, they emerged into an alley. Ethan lifted the metal cover and pulled them out. He looked back toward the apartment, now burning, flames licking through the windows. Elira coughed weakly. "You lost home." Ethan shook his head. "Home's where we keep each other safe." She looked at him, tears glowing in her eyes. "Then I will fight. For your home, too." Ethan smiled faintly. "Then let's start by surviving." They climbed into the van parked nearby. Ethan hit the gas. Behind them, black drones rose above the smoke, scanning the streets. As they sped away into the storm, Elira looked up through the window. Far in the sky, dark shapes moved among the clouds, ships waiting, watching. "They won't stop," she whispered. "Not until I'm dead." Ethan tightened his grip on the wheel. "Then they'll have to go through me first." The van disappeared into the rain, and high above, in orbit, a deep voice spoke through static. "Target located. Prepare extraction." The rain fell harder than ever. Ethan's van raced down the empty highway, the wipers struggling to keep up. Lightning flashed across the sky, lighting up Elira's pale face in the passenger seat. She looked weak, her body trembling, skin glowing faintly blue. Lily sat in the back, wrapped in a blanket, clutching her teddy bear. She was silent now, too scared to speak. Ethan gripped the steering wheel tightly. "Hang on," he said. "We'll find a safe place soon." Elira's eyes opened slowly. "They follow. Can feel them." Ethan looked in the rearview mirror, and his stomach twisted. 3 dark shapes moved through the clouds above, red lights pulsing beneath their hulls. Drones. He pressed the gas pedal harder. The old van groaned but picked up speed. The road twisted along a river with cliffs on both sides. "Come on, come on," Ethan whispered. Suddenly, one of the drones fired. A bolt of red light slammed into the road beside them, throwing dirt and sparks into the air. The van swerved wildly. Lily screamed, "Daddy!" Ethan fought the wheel. "It's okay. I got it." Elira sat up with effort, her hands glowing faint violet. The air in the van crackled. "Drive." "Fast," she said, voice weak but steady. He didn't ask questions. He just drove. The drones fired again. The blast hit the water beside the bridge ahead. The van shook violently. "Hold on," Ethan yelled. Elira raised her hand, and when a burst of blue light shot from her palm, hitting one of the drones. It exploded in midair, scattering fire across the stormy sky. Ethan glanced at her. "You can still fight?" Elira's voice cracked. "Power, small. Each time I lose more." Her breathing grew heavier. The glow around her flickered like a dying flame. Ethan clenched his jaw. "Then don't waste it on fighting. Save it to stay alive." She looked at him, surprised by the anger in his voice. But behind that anger, she saw something else, fear. Not for himself, but for her. The rain turned into a storm. Thunder roared like a beast in the clouds. The van's headlights cut through sheets of water. Lily whispered, "Daddy, are they gone?" "Almost," Ethan said. But he knew it was a lie. The remaining drones were still following, slower now but steady. He turned the van toward the mountains. There was an old tunnel there, an abandoned mine. Maybe they could hide. Elira's head rested against the window. Her voice was faint. "Why, you help me?" Ethan kept his eyes on the road. "Because no one helped me when I needed it most." Elira blinked slowly. "Your mate? She died?" Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah, car crash. I couldn't save her. I was right there and I couldn't." He stopped, his voice breaking. Elira's glowing eyes softened. "You try. That is enough." For a moment, silence filled the van, the kind of silence that carried both pain and peace. Lightning struck again, revealing the entrance to the old tunnel ahead, a dark mouth in the mountain. Ethan drove straight in. The sound of the storm faded behind them. The van's tires splashed through puddles inside the cave. He stopped deep inside and turned off the engine. The silence felt heavy. Lily climbed into the front seat and hugged him tightly. "Daddy, I'm scared," he kissed her forehead. "It's okay, baby. We're safe now," but Elira shook her head. "No safe. They track hardcore, must destroy signal." Ethan turned to her. "How?" She pulled the glowing cube from her cloak, the same one that had helped her heal. It pulsed faintly in her hands like it was breathing. "If I break it," she said softly, "they can't find me." But she looked at Ethan. "I die too." Ethan froze. No, there has to be another way. She smiled weakly. Your heart, kind, but fate cruel. Ethan knelt in front of her. Listen to me. We'll find another way. I don't care how strong they are. I'll fight for you just like I fight for Lily, you hear me? Her eyes shimmered. For the first time, she didn't argue. Then, a sound echoed from the tunnel entrance. A metallic growl. A red beam of light cut through the dark. The drones had found them again. Ethan grabbed the van keys. We have to go deeper. Alara shook her head. No time. The heart core in her hands began to glow brighter, brighter than ever before. Stop. Ethan yelled. You'll kill yourself. But she didn't stop. Tears rolled down her glowing cheeks. Better one die than all. Before he could reach her, the cube exploded with light. A blue wave shot through the tunnel, smashing into the drones. They shattered into dust, their circuits melting in midair. Ethan shielded Lily with his body. When the light faded, everything was silent again. Smoke filled the air. Alara collapsed, the cube dark and cracked beside her. Ethan crawled to her side. Alara, wake up! Her eyes opened slowly, faint and fading. Ethan, my people. They're coming. They don't save humans. He shook his head. Then we'll make them change their mind. She smiled weakly. You still hope. You strange. Human. Her eyes closed and her body went still. The faint glow of her veins dimmed to nothing. Ethan held her hand tightly, refusing to believe she was gone. Outside, the storm raged louder and above the clouds. Far in space, massive alien ships began to move, heading toward Earth. The storm had ended by morning, but the world still felt broken. Rainwater dripped from the tunnel walls as gray light crept inside. Ethan sat beside Alira's still body, his hands trembling. Her skin was pale, the faint silver glow gone. The cracked heart core lay beside her, dead and silent. Lily slept in the back of the van, exhausted. Ethan hadn't closed his eyes once. He couldn't. Not while Alira lay there like that. Not after everything. He whispered softly. Come on, Alira. You said you'd fight. Don't stop now. But she didn't move. Ethan clenched his fists. He felt helpless, just like the night his wife had died. He couldn't lose someone else. Not again. He looked at the broken heart core. Maybe it still had something left. He picked it up carefully. It pulsed weakly, one last spark of light flickering like a dying heartbeat. Ethan carried it closer to her chest. If this thing kept you alive once, maybe it can do it again, he whispered. He pressed the cube against her heart. Nothing happened. Come on, he shouted, voice echoing through the cave. You said you were stronger than me. Prove it. And then a faint light blinked. Once, twice, her fingers twitched. Her eyes opened. A soft glow spread through her skin again. Slow, fragile, but real. Ethan let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. You scared the hell out of me. Alira's voice was weak. You fixed me again, he smiled. Yeah, seems like I do that a lot. For a few minutes, neither spoke. The world outside was quiet except for the soft drip of rain. Finally, Alira looked up. You should not have saved me. Ethan frowned. What are you talking about? She turned her face toward the tunnel entrance where a faint red glow flickered in the clouds. My people come. They not forgive. They not stop. Ethan stood up, pacing. Then we'll hide, she shook her head. No hiding. They destroy what they fear. You help me. Now I must choose. Choose what? Ethan asked. Alira's eyes shimmered faintly. My people will burn your world. Unless I tell them the heart is destroyed. Ethan's jaw tightened. Then tell them. I cannot lie, she said softly. They feel truth. If I say heart lives, they attack. If I say it dies, I die with it. Ethan stared at her. You can't, there has to be another way, she smiled sadly. Always another way in your stories, Ethan. But in real life, someone must fall so others rise. He shook his head, angry. No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to die again. Alira's expression softened. You care too much. Yeah, he said bitterly. It's a bad habit. Lily stirred and sat up. Daddy, is she okay? Ethan forced a smile. She will be. Alira looked at Lily and smiled faintly. Little one, you brave. Lily smiled shyly. You're like a hero from the stories Daddy tells. Alira tilted her head. Hero? No, just broken star trying to shine again. She reached out her hand, touching Lily's cheek softly. A faint warmth passed between them. A quiet goodbye she didn't speak aloud. Then turning to Ethan, her voice changed. If I can reach them before they enter your sky, maybe I stop the war. Ethan stared at her, eyes wide. How? Ship core still works, she said, pointing deeper into the cave. If I connect with it, they will hear me. He shook his head. They'll trace you instantly. They'll kill you, she smiled faintly. Then it's my choice. Ethan didn't move as she floated toward the half-buried ship piece glowing in the dark. The light from the heart core spread through her veins again, bright and alive. When she touched the metal, symbols lit up across the walls. A deep hum filled the cave. Old power waking up. Her voice turned strong again like 1,000 echoes layered together. This is Elira of the High Seat. Earth is under my protection. Call off your fleets. A harsh, static-filled voice answered in her mind. Elira, you betrayed your blood. You side with the weak. The weak saved me, she replied. The strong left me to die. Lightning flashed outside. The ground shook. Ethan grabbed Lily, shielding her as the light filled the cave. Then everything went silent. The light around Elira faded, her body trembling. She turned back to Ethan, tears glistening on her glowing cheeks. They stop. For now. Ethan looked at her in disbelief. You did it. You really did it. She nodded slowly. But they will come again. They always do. He stepped closer. Then we'll be ready next time, together. Her smile was small but real. Together, she whispered. Then using the last of her strength, she stood, truly stood, on her own feet. Her legs trembled, but she was standing. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. You're walking, Elira smiled through her tears. You said you'd help me walk. I didn't believe you. Ethan laughed softly. You laughed at me, she nodded. Yes, and now, I cry. But far above in the cold void of space, the alien fleet lingered. Massive ships waiting in silence. A voice echoed through their command channel. Let her play with her humans. For now. Back on Earth, Ethan helped Elira sit down beside the van. She looked up at the sky, at the fading storm. The stars are quiet tonight, she said softly. Ethan looked at her, not for long, and as the morning sun broke through the clouds, the first light touched her face, the face of a princess who had finally chosen her heart over her crown. The dawn was quiet. Soft sunlight touched the wet ground outside the tunnel, turning every drop of rain into a tiny spark. Ethan sat beside the van, staring at the rising sun. His clothes were torn, his hands shaking, but his heart, for the first time in years, felt warm. Beside him, Elira stood slowly, still weak but upright. Her silver hair shimmered under the light, and her eyes, no longer glowing from pain, held peace instead. Lily ran to her and wrapped her arms around her leg. You can walk. You're really walking. Elira smiled, a soft, almost human smile. Yes, your father keeps promises. Ethan laughed quietly, though his eyes were wet. Told you I don't give up easy, for a moment. The world seemed almost normal again, a father, his daughter, and a stranger who no longer felt like one. But peace never lasts. A shadow moved across the sunlight, large, silent, and fast. Ethan looked up. A massive ship drifted across the sky, black and shining like a wound against the morning blue. Elira's smile faded. They did not all listen. Ethan's grip tightened on Lily's shoulder. What do they want? Elira stared at the sky, her eyes glowing faintly again. Me. A beam of red light flickered from the ship, scanning the ground. A robotic voice echoed from above. Princess Elira of the High Seat, your rebellion ends now. Elira stood tall, shoulders back, no longer afraid. No, she said softly. It begins now. The ship's scanners locked onto them. The air shimmered as drones descended, forming a circle around the clearing. Their armor gleamed wet from the rain. Ethan stepped forward instinctively. You'll have to go through me first. Elira looked at him with a mix of pride and pain. You would die for me? He nodded. I already decided that the night I found you. Something inside her broke, not from weakness, but from feeling. The girl who once couldn't walk now stood taller than any queen. She turned to the sky, lifting her hands. You want your princess? She shouted. Then listen to her. Light exploded from her palms, a soft blue glow spreading through the air like a living wave. The drones froze mid-flight, their lights flickering. Her voice echoed across the valley, calm but filled with power. I walked among humans. I saw kindness, pain, and love. You call them weak, yet they gave me strength. They made me walk again when our own machines could not. The air shimmered brighter. The red beam from the ship turned pale, then flickered out. Inside the command ship, voices shouted orders, but their systems were failing. Elira's signal was inside their core. She was rewriting them. Ethan shielded his eyes as the light grew stronger. Elira, what are you doing? She smiled faintly. Ending this for them. For you, Lily cried out. Don't go! Elira knelt beside her. I must, little one. My people need to see truth, not war. She reached out, touching Lily's forehead. A small mark of light appeared there, a star-shaped symbol. When you look at the stars, I will see you too. Then she turned to Ethan. Her eyes were wet but shining. You said you'd help me walk. You did more. You helped me live. Ethan's throat tightened. Then promise me one thing. What? She whispered. Don't forget who you are, not the princess, but the person who laughed, cried, and learned to care. She smiled. I will remember always. And with that she stepped forward into the beam of light. The sky opened. The ship's glow turned from red to white. The air shook and a deep hum filled the earth. Then suddenly silence. The ship began to rise and slowly, peacefully, vanished into the clouds. The drones crumbled into dust. The light faded. Ethan fell to his knees, looking up at the sky. She was gone. Lily ran to him, hugging him tightly. Is she coming back, Daddy? He didn't answer right away. He just looked at the sky, where sunlight now broke through clean and bright. I don't know, he said softly. But I think she's watching. Days passed. The government covered the incident as a weather anomaly. The wreckage disappeared overnight. Life went on. But at night, Ethan often stood outside staring at the stars. Lily would join him, pointing at the brightest one. That's her, Daddy, she'd say. Elira. And sometimes, just sometimes, the star would flicker. Once, twice, like it was answering. One evening, as they walked home from the park, Ethan's phone buzzed. No number, no name, and just one message. The stars remember you, Ethan. He froze, heart racing. He looked up. The same bright star blinked again in the sky. Lily laughed. Told you she's watching. Ethan smiled, tears in his eyes. Yeah, she walked for us. Now she flies for everyone. He looked up one last time, whispering, Goodbye, Elira. But far above the clouds, inside a silver ship hidden among the stars, a voice whispered back, Not goodbye, just until we meet again. The ship turned, heading toward the distant light of another world. And for the first time in centuries, the stars of her people shone brighter, no longer cold but alive with hope.